How long it takes to manifest something has nothing to do with time and everything to do with frequency. Yes, we're talking vibes here, but not so much just positive thinking. It goes way, way deeper than that. So today, I'm going to share how I was able to manifest specific things in a certain amount of time and explain why time is completely irrelevant when it comes to manifesting. You've just entered Hexotica, the space where unconventional women and gender-diverse creatives learn how to turn their creative ideas into online income. I'm Christine Rice, marketing mentor, and this is episode 49. What manifesting really is about closing the gap between who you are now and who you are going to become, who you need to become in order to receive what you desire. So whether you've been trying to manifest something as small as a parking space or as large as a windfall of a few $1,000s, if nothing has ever shown up despite trying hard and doing all the things, your concept of how long it is going to take to manifest something could be the issue, because you're thinking about timelines when you should be thinking only about frequency. So today I'm going to share with you exactly why time is completely irrelevant when it comes to manifesting, because I've been practicing manifesting for over 20 years now. And I've recently published an ebook on it called Money Manifesting Witchcraft. My belief that my thoughts can change my reality has helped me find love. It's helped me find very specific best friends, the perfect job within 24 hours, multiple clients in a single day, and then it's helped me become self-employed. And it has helped me with endless other small things and opportunities over the years. So I believe that manifesting is 99% not metaphysical, okay? There's 1% that is magic and metaphysical though. And magic is whatever science can't explain yet, right? It probably will explain it in time. So whether you're a religious person who believes in angel guides, or you're a witchy goth like me who believes awareness is our ultimate superpower in life, this episode is for you if you want to manifest extraordinary abundance into your life or business as I have. So today, I'm going to talk about time and frequency only. But in an upcoming episode, I'll cover how to know whether your manifesting practice is working or not, and what you're supposed to do while you're waiting, especially if you are impatient AF because you need something like yesterday, which, we've all been there. We've all done that. So if you're feeling that desperate, needy kind of feeling, what to do to kind of alleviate that, because that's not going to help you manifest. So how long manifesting will take is such a frequent question that I hear and see people ask online. And it's one of the most frustrating things for people who are trying to understand how to manifest, is they want to know, like, well, how much do I have to do until something happens? Can it happen overnight? Can it happen in 7 days? Do I need to work on this for like a couple of months before something manifests? So I'm going to address those questions because I feel that it does deserve a dedicated episode to clear up the misconception that time has anything to do with manifesting at all. So let's get started. So first of all, let me explain why it's frequency and not time that matters for how long something will manifest for you. It is entirely about frequency, not time. Because the universe can deliver anything to you within seconds if it wanted to, right? The universe has no problem delivering what you desire. It is you that requires the time, because what the universe delivery requires is enough of your belief to make it happen. And by belief, to be clear, what we're talking about is frequency. And the size of your desire is 100% irrelevant as well. If you truly, deeply believe that you are worthy and capable of making a $5,000 windfall of money, then it will come to you. But what closes the gap between now and when the money arrives? It's not time. It is your state of being. It's your vibration of being. Esther Hicks, the woman who claims to channel a spirit who calls himself Abraham, is one of my favorite law of attraction authors. I fall asleep listening to her rampages for subliminal programming quite often. And her answer to the question, how long does it take to manifest something, is always, as long as it takes for you to stop doubting and start believing. Well, how long will it take to stop doubting? As long as it takes for you to stop doubting and start believing. Well, how long will it take for me to start believing? As long as it takes for you to stop doubting and start believing. She says, she describes the state of being where manifesting can happen as the vortex. When our belief is in alignment with our desire, when we have zero doubt that the thing we desire can and will come to us, and we're prioritizing feeling good over wanting anything, that is being in an energetic alignment state. That is entering the vortex. The problem is that alignment requires several energetic channels within us to rise up all to the same frequency to be in that state of mind that opens the vortex. Okay? But most of the time, we're walking around in a messy pool of self-doubts and anxieties with a subconscious belief that we're not worthy and that we can't really receive it. We're always kind of doubting that anything could happen for us, right? It's very hard to believe a lot of our affirmations out there. It's very hard to believe, a windfall of $5,000 is just going to come to me, right? The vortex is what can cure that. Being in the vortex as often as possible, and more often being in the vortex than wanting the money and thinking about the money and needing the money and why the money should come to us, that is what is going to help manifest it for you. Because as long as we're thinking about what we want and we're focused on the need, we're not in alignment with that state of being that we need to be in. That does not match what we subconsciously believe, what we consciously believe. So the misalignment between belief and desire is what interferes with the frequency our manifestation requires. So to pull this back down to earth for you, here are some examples of what not being in alignment looks like. So here's a list of little red flags to look out for. If you are feeling or doing any of these things, then you are not in alignment, and this is what is impeding you from being able to manifest. So for example, we're living our lives in reaction mode rather than in creative intention mode. Our thoughts are too focused on what happened in the past, for example, our past relationships, emotional baggage, or past mistakes. Or we're too focused on the future, which is one of my problems. I'm always thinking too much about the future. I'm always planning. I'm always daydreaming, never doing or not doing enough, always hoping and wishing, not being the person who already has what we desire. I'm going to talk a little bit more on that a little bit later in this episode. And then next, wanting external current circumstances to change without making any internal changes. So we want everything to change on the outside, like a job, a house, or a relationship, but we're not willing to do the work on the inside for our personal development to make those changes. Or we're feeling triggered by two conflicting desires or feelings, which leads to a dysregulated nervous system. Feeling triggered is literally wanting two things at the same time. Often the conscious is in conflict with the subconscious. Now, do you see the common denominator in all of these things? It is our thoughts. It's not time, but thoughts that can either align you to your dreams or keep you stuck. And this is why I am such a huge fan of life coaching, Eastern philosophy, and actively working on everything that helps me raise my consciousness and awareness in life. Because the practice of manifesting is the same as the practice of conscious awareness. Here are a couple of other quotes from Abraham and Esther Hicks that I love. Quote, "You are the creator of your own reality, which means you are the keeper of your own vibration, which means you are the focuser of your own thoughts." Unquote. Quote, "You can find a way to feel the way you want to feel regardless of the conditions. And that's what unconditional love is. That's what unconditional alignment is, unquote. Feeling the way that we need to feel, a very high vibe state, is what's going to help you manifest faster, not time. So now let's get into the juicy question of how to raise your frequency to speed up the time it takes to manifest your desires. So feeling good is the secret to raising your frequency, right? Feeling good is the secret to getting into the vortex and to making your manifestation happen. If you're going to sit down to do any activities, to do affirmations, to do rituals, anything like that, you need to feel good. You need to get yourself into a state. And I believe that if you want to have success with anything that you're doing throughout your day, it is good to try to get yourself into a state. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this at the end of this episode because I've really personally, this has really hit home for me. But let's continue with how you can raise your frequency now. So how do we actively pursue feeling good when our lives are shitty, right? How do we get rid of the doubt? And if everything is shit in our lives, how do we feel good about what we have to get our frequency up? So here are a few things that powerful manifesting witches like myself do. So I'm going to go through this list. Top of the list is gratitude. Gratitude is the great amplifier for manifesting. Finding all the things in your life that you are grateful to have now and that are coming to you. This is a must, an essential foundation of manifesting. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Second to that is self-compassion, learning radical self-love and releasing any stories and shame around past failures or faults. That is what the entire episode number 1 of the Hexotica podcast is dedicated to doing. And that is why, because we have to release those stories. We have to release any shame or any sense of failure, any baggage from the past, if we want to move forward and manifest our dreams. Choosing your thoughts so you can create the feelings that you desire instead of always reacting. This is super important. We must choose what we want to think. And I feel like the best way to do this is through reciting affirmations. The next thing is nervous system regulation through therapy, hypnosis, EFT tapping, meditation, and somatic exercises. Anything that can help you calm your nervous system. Next is allowing people and things to be as they are. Letting go of our need to control. Allow things to be. Allow people to be. Allow opinions to be. And the final thing that I actively do a lot, and probably the most, is rituals. Rituals to activate inner emotional states, to get into the vortex, as well as to work with external spiritual energies within your house and in your environment. If you want to learn more about that, check out episode number 10, where I talk to Sam Angel Guide about clearing negative energies. That is what she does for a living. She clears negative past energies, bad energies, and negative energies from spaces. And it can have a big impact on your success. So you need to regularly be doing that in your bedroom, your office, your home, your car, any of the areas where you need to be protected or to bring in success. So here's how Abraham and Esther Hicks summarizes it. Quote, "You got to find some way of being happy anyway. You've got to stop needing something to change so that you can have a good feeling response to it. Figure out how to be happy before it happens, before your manifestation happens." Unquote. Quote, "Just a little shift in your expectation will make the difference. That is all that is required." Unquote. So if you want to make an extra 10K, focus on the abundance that you have now. Focus on the money in your bank account. Focus on any way that money is coming into your life. Make a big deal out of it. Get excited. Make it a thing, right? Any single dollar, anything that you find money, if you find money in a drawer in your car or if on the street, or make a big deal out of it. Celebrate it. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference between money that's coming to you in that way or that's coming in through some random like lotto win. It doesn't know the difference. That feeling of abundance is what's going to help get that money into your bank account sooner. That is how we close the gap between the time that we want something and the time that we get it. This is how we collapse time. Now for a bit of story time. Some personal experiences with how long it took for me to manifest certain things in specific amounts of times. So I've often found it very frustrating when people talk about manifesting and they do not really share enough of their personal manifestation experiences, right? I mean, how do we know that they aren't just talking out of their asses, right? Like, have they actually manifested anything? I mean, we probably wouldn't know if they really manifested it or not, right? They still could be talking out of their asses. But I do like to hear more specific stories of how things come about for people. So I don't like to gatekeep. I like to share the stories of how I manifest. And I usually do that on my Threads account, which is my favorite social media app at the moment. I will leave the link to my Threads account in the show notes. If you want to follow me on there, I have a very kind of spiritual, witchy kind of community that around my account there that I really, really love. I keep it very high vibe there as much as possible. And I talk about marketing. Anyway, story time. So, can you manifest something in 24 hours? Yes, I once manifested one of my favorite ever jobs within 24 hours of visualizing exactly what kind of place I wanted to work at, what kinds of people I wanted to work with, and exactly where near my house that I wanted to work. So it was literally the very first and only job that I applied to within hours after quitting a job that I hated. Like, I had spent the day being bored out of my mind. I cried. I decided I've had enough with this. I didn't like the people I was working. They were nice people that I worked with, but I didn't get along with them that well. Didn't have anything in common. And so I quit that day. I went home and I started applying for jobs that night. I had a very, very clear idea of what I wanted. And the next morning, I got an email with an invitation to come in for an interview. It was so powerful, this experience, that I remember thinking when I first arrived at the company doorstep before the interview, I put my hand out to open the front door of the company. And as I was about to turn the knob to open the door, I thought to myself, this job is going to be one of the best jobs that I've ever had. I'm going to love it. And I'm going to love everybody who I work with here. I'm going to love everything about it because there was the way that it happened so quickly and was exactly what I was hoping for. I knew there was something magical about it. And sure enough, it was an amazing job. It was perfect. Unfortunately, it only lasted 9 months because then they had some sales flunks and they had to let lots of people go. But in the 9 months I was there, it was one of the funnest jobs I ever had. When your manifestation arrives, it's almost always extraordinary. It's not just good enough. It's usually perfect. So that job was perfect. It was fabulous. I worked as a dispatcher, jewelry repair, and e-commerce admin there for a costume jewelry wholesaler. And that was only an 8-minute walk from my house. It was about 6 minutes closer to my house than my previous job had been. I worked in an area that was close to wholesalers at the time. So costume jewelry back then too, it was my life. And I was running my own costume jewelry business, making my handmade Gothic burlesque accessories at that time. That was my side hustle. So I was doing this job full time because, as I have mentioned on this podcast before, being American Australian, I needed to go home a lot, right? So I had just got back from another 3-month trip to the US. And so once again, my own handmade business was down. So I went out and got a full-time job to get my income back up in the meantime. And this job that I had previously that I hated, when I quit that, I had in my mind, I don't want to work in clothing anymore. I don't want to work front in the sales room anymore. I want to work with costume jewelry away from customers. And that's what I got. It was amazing. I loved it. It just really felt like a dream because it was exactly what I had wanted. And I knew it was meant to be because the two people that I worked with, they ended up being very close friends as well. And one of them, she was a massive law of attraction fan herself. And she introduced me to Florence Scovel Shinn, the author of Your Word is Your Wand and The Secret Door to Success. These books were all about manifesting, and they were published in the early 1940s. You see, the law of attraction has been around for way, way longer than The Secret, right? It's been around for thousands of years. We've always had this magic. We just haven't accessed it. We haven't been able to talk about it. And a big reason is, religious reasons. It's basically like witchcraft to people that can't explain it. It doesn't fall into the mythology of, the Abrahamic religions. So of course it was going to be quieted down, but it is real. And people who practice it know that it's real. And that was always one of the biggest, most mind-blowing experiences that I had, wanting to work in costume jewelry, wanting to be back of house, wanting to work with people that made going to work fun, and then getting it within 24 hours of visualizing it. So moving on, can you manifest something in 3 days? Hell yeah. So here's my story for a 3-day manifestation. Just recently, because I follow an intermittent fasting and ketosis health routine, I started thinking to myself, I need some sugar-free electrolytes, right? I just thought it. I did not say it out loud for my phone to hear. I did not look it up online. I did not make an order for it. I didn't even write it down. I just thought that I wanted it, right? And I was backed 100% by the belief that I am worthy and capable of having it, right? Just sugar-free electrolytes. Like, there's nothing that would stand in the way for me being able to have that, right? But 3 days later, a box of hair care supplies arrived that I'd ordered online. And guess what the universe had randomly put in that box? 5 free sachets of sugar-free electrolytes. So I never had anything free added to pharmacy orders ever before. And I got exactly what I had wanted to get. And I was able to try these new flavors. And I did end up ordering a box of different flavors that I had tried from these free sachets. But it was like, thank you, universe. That was a crazy little coincidence that happened recently. That's how it happens, though, guys. This is how manifestation happens. You think something and then it arrives or it shows up. So that's just one example of something that happened within 3 days. Can you manifest something in 7 days? Damn straight. I once wanted to buy an online course in affiliate marketing. This was years ago, and it was $200. At that time, I was a struggling feast or famine freelancer, not with, I didn't have regular clients at the time because I didn't know how to fill my pipeline. I didn't have a sales system back then. And so I was pet sitting to save rent and bills, and I didn't have a lot of money to spare, but I was in kind of like, active learning mode, right? And I asked the universe to send me a clear message if I should buy this course, because $200 at the time was kind of a stretch for me, right? So I asked it and I was like, all right, I'll buy it if I've got the spare money, right? I'll just try to figure things out and get the money for it whenever I need it, right? And a week later, I started another pet sit for an old friend of mine, right? And I never charged for pet sitting back then. I still don't really charge. I just started charging recently because my time is valuable now. But back then I would do these long sits full time and I didn't charge anything. But guess what was on the countertop when I arrived at this friend's pet sit 1 week later? $200 cash, just a gift. But it was a clear sign. So I was like, right, I've got the spare money. I'm going to buy the course. So I bought that course. And as I've experienced many times, when the universe clearly does send you something that you were meant to have and that you specifically asked for, when it arrives, it's usually pretty fucking amazing. And like the manifested job was, you can almost expect that you'll love anything that you manifest when it arrives. It's almost always a perfect fit. And if it doesn't work out to be a perfect fit in the end, at least it was a perfect fit for where you needed or what lesson you needed to learn, right? So that course helped me set up my first affiliate marketing income streams, and it eventually helped me earn over $56,000 in the time since I took it. That was an amazing experience right there. Can you manifest something in 30 days? Of course, may we. 30 days is the ideal window to focus on manifest something that may be out of your current belief capacity, because 30 days gives you enough time to work on your beliefs, right? It's not because the universe needs more time. It's because you need more time to adjust your current identity to match the identity you need to hold that level of belief. So is there ever a specific amount of time manifestation takes? Nope. There is never a fixed amount of time that manifestation takes. One manifestation might show up in an afternoon. Another might take months. Another that seems completely impossible one day can arrive the next day so fast, and you're wondering what the hell just happened, right? And this is where I really love the phrase that manifesting witches use when they say collapsing time. Because to defy time and turbocharge your manifestation, you have to kind of ignore time altogether. Thinking along timelines is a trap, and it will keep you stuck and unable to manifest, because when you ask how long something is going to be, it puts you in a waiting mode. You start measuring the gap between where you are now and where you want to be, and your logical brain puts a timeline on it. This is going to take 6 months. This might take a few years, right? You start to think about your future in accordance with what the reality that you have now is, right? You're using now as the starting point rather than the future where you want to be as the starting point. And that is the problem, because what you need to do when you manifest is you need to act as if, right? You need to kind of work and think as if what you wanted were already here. The starting point is not your current timeline. Where you are now is irrelevant. So instead, you have to start acting as if and using the future point of your manifestation having already happened as the starting point. So for example, what if you decided that the thing that you want is available to you right now? What if you knew that what you desired was going to come to you in a couple of hours? Would you be ready for it? How would you act differently? Would you need to prepare for it? How would your day go, and what would you have to change for it to show up? Are you ready for it? What if you started thinking and choosing and behaving and taking action from that assumption that you knew for 100% fact that it was going to come in an hour? How would you change who you are and what you're doing right now if that were the case? That's how we need to be thinking, not from, this is going to take a few years to meet the right person or to get the right skills or to get this business going or to make 100K. We need to actually act right now as if those things were on their way. That is how we collapse time. Being, not time, is what you should focus on if you want to manifest something fast. Acting as if and being the person who already has what you desire means getting out of the energy of, I'm still trying to get there, and into the energy of, this is where I am now. And we're acting accordingly. Manifesting is blocked when we send the universe conflicting messages. When we ask for money, but we're also thinking, money is so fucking hard for me. And we're saying things like, I'm broke. Or when we ask for love while expecting romantic abandonment. For example, you send the guy that you're dating a text at noon, and when he doesn't reply by like 4:00, you're saying to yourself, if he doesn't get back to me in my message by this amount of time tonight, I'm blocking him, right? You don't even give him a chance to explain what's going on. Like, it's the expectation that it's just going to go wrong. And so you cut it off. When we ask for freedom in our lives, but we're stagnating how we live according to our fears and our anxieties, saying things like, I'm not leaving this shitty job that I hate, or investing in a business or marketing coach until I am 100% certain that my business idea will work. But your fear of ever trying and of trusting yourself or a mentor withholds the money and the time a new business venture would require. We're saying that we want the next level version of our life while continuing to make every decision from the identity of the version of us who doesn't have it yet. So in summary, how long it takes you to manifest something is exactly how long it takes you to get into energetic alignment with the version of yourself who already has it. Doing more, like affirmations or meditating or scripting, all of that stuff can help, but only if you are doing it when you are in a really high vibe, energetic state. Otherwise, doing more is just going to be like putting out more of that I need it energy into the universe, right? You have to collapse time by acting as if there is no time between you and what you desire. So rather than asking how long something will take, the better question is to ask, who would I be and what would I do if I stopped assuming this had to take forever? Because it doesn't have to take any longer than you decide it will take. The version of you that has what you want could be next week or it could be next year. Act as that person now to close the gap. You're just one decision, one shift, or one audacious move or inspired action away from a completely different timeline. Your job is to stop deciding that the clock gets to tell you what's possible. All right, so before I wrap up here and tell you a little bit about my personal life, I want to invite you to join up to my Money Manifesting Witchcraft themed newsletter. It will help you craft an intentional lifestyle to help you manifest money and success. So to sign up for that, go to money-manifesting-witchcraft.hexotica.link. It'll walk you through the 10 stages of manifesting in order with a focus on manifesting money with journaling prompts and affirmations. So you can get that with the link in the show notes on the YouTube and the podcast, or go to money-manifesting-witchcraft.hexotica.link. All right, lovely guts. Thank you so much for listening. I am so grateful to have you here. Last week, I broke my headset, so that's why I wasn't able to record last week. I've got a new pair, or one that I have been trying to bejewel. I haven't finished it yet, but it is in the process. Very soon, I have to wrap up all of my office and my crafts over here on the side of the office that you can't see, because I'm going to the US for probably 3 or 4 months. I'm not sure yet, but putting everything into storage basically in the office and renting out my bedroom while I'm gone. So I've got a lot to do. But before I go, I want to make this headset beautiful with kind of Dolce & Gabbana style gold bejeweling. So I'm in the middle of that and trying to replace this one here. So that's what I've been doing, and that's why I didn't record last week. I know it's kind of a crazy excuse, but packing up with the pet sit was a bit chaotic, so sometimes things get broken. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, and if you enjoyed the episode, please leave a hex yeah on any of Hexotica's social media channels or on the YouTube. I really appreciate you listening, and if you leave a hex yeah, I will follow you back because I want to thank you and support your business or what you're doing online, if you're a content creator or if you are selling things. So have a great week, work hard on your business, and I will catch you next week when I have a guest on who is a jewelry designer who has put out a lovely new course that teaches you how to get your jewelry manufactured. Girl, this is the course that I wish had existed 10 years ago when I was still running my business as a craft business, so as a side hustle. Anyway, that will be next week, so don't miss that one. I will see you next week. Until then, bye.